Once upon a time, somewhere very far in the land of the elves, lived 3 elves. These elves were getting ready to become good-hearted fairies, and off they went on their journey to the world of humans.
Our duty awaits for us, guys. Come on.
I'm very excited. Finally, we too will see the world of humans.
I want every single person to be very happy.
If we help the humans and make them happy, we too will become good-hearted fairies.
In an old house, there lived an old man and his wife. The old man made a living by making shoes in his workshop in their home, and sometimes he repaired old shoes. The shoemaker bought new leather to make new shoes from the money he earned. One day, he bought leather from the money he had made. He arrived home. The piece of the leather he had bought was only enough to make 1 pair of shoes. He left the piece of leather on the table, left the room, closing the door, and went into his bedroom. In the morning, the shoemaker woke up. Sitting in his bed, he had a good stretch. He thought about the type of shoe he was going to make. And like every other morning, he finished the breakfast his wife had prepared for him.
Thank you very much, dear. I must be off to work now. Today I will make a very nice pair of shoes.
Last night you made a pair of shoes. Do you have enough leather to make another pair? The old man was amazed because he knew he didn't make any shoes before he slept last night. And so the old man quickly ran to his workshop and his wife followed. As he opened the door, what does he see? The piece of leather he had left on the table from night before had turned into very pretty shoes. The shoemaker's eyes nearly came out of its sockets.
When did I make these shoes? I do not remember. I think I have become really old.
The shoes were that pretty that the shoemaker quickly put them in front of the window and waited for a customer. Soon after, a rather wealthy-looking customer saw the shoes from the window and came in.
Good day. I would like to buy the pair of shoes in front of the window. Doesn't matter what it costs. They are by far the best pair of shoes I have ever seen.
The old man, with great happiness, saw the pair of shoes, and he didn't ask for any more than what it was worth. This time the shoemaker was on his way to get leather for the 2 pairs of shoes. And again he left the leather on top of the table, and before he left the room, he turned around and had another look at the piece of leather and went off to bed. As soon as he woke up, he ran straight to his workshop. This time round, there were 2 pairs of amazing shoes sitting on the table. Once again, the shoemaker was very happy. He placed the shoes in front of the window. The same day, he sold both pairs of shoes for a very good price. And off he went again to buy more leather. Of course, in the meantime, he was wondering who was making these lovely pairs of shoes. He placed the leather on the table and went to his room. In the morning, he had a pile of shoes on the table. The shoemaker sold every single pair that day. For a very long time, the old man was able to make a living with the money he had made from the shoes. With some of the money he had made, he continued to buy leather. But the shoemaker was so curious as to how and who was making these pairs of shoes. At last, one night, he decided to hide in the closet in his workshop and was determined to find out who was making them.
Tonight I will finally be able to meet the shoemaker.
When the time had passed midnight, the workshop's window opened and in entered the elves. One of the elves accidentally bumped into a flower pot. Hearing the noise, the old man jumped out of his spot.
Would you be careful? You're going to wake them up.
When the old man pushed the door and had a sneak peek, he couldn't believe his eyes. He rubbed his eyes, looked again, and what did he see? There were 3 elves on the table. They were dancing and working at the same time. One of them cut the leather, one was sewing, and the other one was gluing it together. Then they tied the laces and polished the shoes. The elves were working so fast that with the flick of an eye, there were countless pairs of shoes on the counter. They're all beautiful!
Come on, let's leave before someone wakes up.
The elves left as they had arrived, dancing with joy and laughter. The shoemaker stepped out of his hiding place. He ran to his wife and told her all that had happened. And of course, his wife couldn't believe what she heard. But when she saw the countless pairs of shoes sitting on the counter, she knew that her husband couldn't do them all in one night. They agreed to thank the elves for what they had done. The following day, the old shoemaker's wife prepared a feast. At midnight, when the elves arrived at the workshop, they saw the feast on the table.
Look at all that food. Do you think it's been prepared for us?
Of course it is for us, you silly. Otherwise, why would they bring it at this hour?
I think we have completed our mission in this house. Now we can go to the other houses that need our help.
The shoemaker and his wife woke up and walked into the workshop, and instead of seeing the food they had left, they saw a pile of shiny shoes. After that day, the elves never returned again. The old shoemaker and his wife were able to get by with all the money they had earned for the rest of their lives. The shoemaker thought that after working for so many years, this was his reward. That is why he never stopped making shoes, and whenever he thought about the little elves, he was forever thankful and grateful.